Okay, well, it is 12 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. Just note, currently everyone is on mute. If you do have a question at any time during the session, please don't hesitate to put it in the chat and or unmute yourself, which is fine. But I did want to have everybody muted to get started. So we'll go ahead and get started. I am recording this so that we can play it we can put it out on the website for people who might have missed this session. For those of you who may not know who I am, my name is Hillary Sheffer. I am a member of the Ohio chapter of WiNUP and am currently the 2020 International Website Committee Chair. So I wanted to take this opportunity to help all of us really get to know our website. And if there are any topics you wish to cover in the future, please don't hesitate to let me know. We do have a couple other on our slate planned, but if you have any ideas or have any questions, let me know as well. Today's session will start off briefly with the safety and a culture moment, which is kind of a norm around here. But we do want to go in, we do want to talk a little bit about the member profile and the renewal process. I know many of you probably have already renewed, but want to make sure you don't have any questions. We do want to talk a little bit about event registration. So registering for events as more and more are being put on the calendar. Talk about the membership directory. And then we also want to talk about how you can go in and get your own event history. For those of us, this time of year is around doing our performance reviews. And so it's always nice that we can go back and kind of get that history if we want to include that in our, in our self reviews or let our managers know what we've been up to. So first of all, safety and culture. So first of all, safety. We actually have a snow alert for Central Ohio today. It is rather chilly out there. So for winter preparation and prevention, just some things to keep in mind. I know most of us may not necessarily be going any place or very often, which actually I think makes this a little bit more important. Remembering to maintain your vehicle, since we're not necessarily getting in them as often as we normally would this time of year. Look at your defrosters and heaters, make sure they're working properly. Make sure your brakes are working properly. This is also the big time for deer to come out of the woodwork and jump in front of you. So make sure your brakes are working properly. Check those tire pressures. Believe it or not, with your vehicle sitting in the garage or sitting in your driveway for long periods of time, they do tend to lose air. So you do want to check your tire pressure. Your windshield wipers, make sure the blades are good, in good condition. Some vehicles actually even have winter versions of windshield wipers. Also, use your headlights. It's staying darker a lot later in the morning and getting darker a lot earlier in the evening. So please make sure you're using your headlights. Slow down around curves. Do not jam your brakes because you never know when you may be hitting an icy patch. And then, remember, adjust your speed for not only following distance, but also if you've got people in front of you. Just be cautious of everybody around you. And then for a culture, I know most of us are attending a lot of our meetings virtually, but still keep in mind that when we do interact with people, your interaction is delivered an experience to them in really 3 different ways, even virtually. They feel your attitude, they can see your actions, especially as more and more of us are starting to use cameras. And they also hear your words. So really understand that you do have impact, even if we are talking to people over the phone, and or interacting remotely through these types of the WebExes and the Zooms and everything else that is going on. So now I'm going to go ahead and log into or bring up the website and log in. And I'm actually, thanks to Lisa Marnini, I have an actual account that will show a regular member's perspective, point of view. So it is important to log in, simply because a lot of what we're going to take a look at either may not be available to you if you're not logged in, or may be represented differently to members and non-members, especially like events. So first of all, several of you will probably see this message when you first log in about renewing. And oh, this one actually has a payment pending. That's not what I was looking for. I was actually looking for the renewal message, but that's okay. A lot of you probably saw that renewal message come up when you first came in, and I kind of want to open up and make sure that nobody had any specific questions that either myself or Lisa could answer for you. But one of the things you may have noticed is it asked you a lot of questions, or had you review a lot of information about yourself. For those of you who may have already renewed, you can go back to your profile, and all I did was I clicked the little red arrow, or the little arrow up here behind the name, and you can go to profile. And a lot of that extra information is here under, you have your contact information, which will be your addresses. And one of the things a lot of us are asking for now is not only your company address, or your primary address, but also that home or secondary address. With more and more of us working from home, if things need to be mailed to you, it's nice to have that home address in there. So that's one piece of information, as well as making, letting us know what time zones and different things that you are in there, part of in there. Another thing you'll notice that we're asking is let us know when the birthdays are. A lot of this information we haven't had an opportunity to capture before across the board. Different chapters have done different things. But it's nice to have all that information here for us on within your profile. So you've got your contact information. You also have this additional member information. In here is where you'll see a lot of those additional questions that you may not have been familiar with before in the past. We've had the company name, your position, those things are required, but we are asking some other general information like gender and age and ethnic, your race or ethnic heritage. A lot of this has to do with making, just really for reporting and making sure we're maintaining our diversity, and just how is the organization made up. So it does ask for a lot of this type of information. Does anybody have any comments or questions so far? Okay. I do also want to point out the standard member directory. So there is some additional information that can be put into your standard membership directory. So again, we've got birthdays, anniversaries. If you have your own social networking, you can put that information, a biography. But the biggest thing too is note you can always add a headshot in your photo. And I'll show you where as a member, you can go into the member directory and look up people and look up for their information. And it's kind of nice to have the photos there as well. So that's one of the big things, is make sure your photo is in there if you've got a good one. And then speaking of that information, there's also this privacy cancel removal. And really the only piece that I want to show under here has to do with that privacy. And you may not have noticed it when you were first going in and getting renewed, but we have noticed a few individuals that are not receiving any communications out from the site. And that's because under this privacy, they have this set to no. You don't want to receive emails. And so that will, if somebody is pushing an email out from using the communications function, which is available to us, you won't receive those emails. So you do want to make sure, if you want to get the information that's being pushed out, that this is set to yes. So that's kind of some of that personal information within your profiles. Comments, questions? Okay.
The West Virginia chapter, do those default at all, or do you have to fill them out with some?
I'm sorry, you were a little faint. What was that question again?
The privacy setting default to something, or do you have to fill it out, or how does that work? Because we have people were getting emails, and I didn't even know this was here, so I wondered if that might be one of the reasons.
Yeah, I don't remember what the default was. Lisa, you may be able to answer that. I do know that when we initially went to using Club Express for renewals, a lot of people may have accidentally hit the no here when you first went in and setting up that information the very first time. Now, in this go round, obviously you're just reviewing that information, so you may not necessarily catch it. Lisa, do you remember if the default was set to no and we had to make sure it was set, and we make sure we put it to yes?
The default was yes. So
I think was yes.
Yes, and so I have tried in the past when I've noticed people that I know, I've sent emails out to everybody to just remind them that that's set that way, but I'm not sure everyone who's gone in and changed it, but that is a good place for someone to check initially if they're not getting any emails.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
And I also believe all the chapter admins have the ability to also check that. So if you are a chapter admin, that is something you can also check for each member as well. If a member comes to you specifically, that's something you should be able to check as well.
That is true. That is true. Chapter admins do have that ability. Okay. Well, one of the tools that this information is very helpful for is that membership directory. And as a member, under the member section, which again is only available if you log in, so you do have to log in to see it, there is this membership directory. And what's nice about this membership directory is you can go and search for a particular member. I'll just go ahead and pull my record up. And it does pull up that member's information. Here's the photos, like I said, that you would want to add the information. And then another tool that I really like is I can hit this little business card, and it actually will download a file. If you use an application like Outlook, you can click that little file. It will download that contact information. If you open it up, and of course that opened on my other screen, so give me just a second, bring it over. It brings over all my information besides just what I can see on the screen. And I could save it right into my Outlook as well. And I thought that was kind of a nifty little feature. So there is a membership directory that you can utilize to locate a fellow member and their information. Questions, comments? Now I'm going to go back to my profile for a second, because one of the things I do, one of the pieces that I did want to remind everybody is, as we're going through renewal, you're probably logging back in and doing some of those things, but you do have an ability here under username and password, one, to change your password if you ever need to update your password. But you can also change your username if you're, because I think when we initially got all of our accounts, it was something like our first initial, last name, and our member number or something to that effect. And so one of the first things I did was change this to something that I could remember. So you can also change your username as well. Of course, you need to know what your username is to get in there in the first place. But if you do get in, you can control what that information looks like. So besides having this member section to get to documents that we talked about earlier in our first session, membership directory, as we hopefully move to more and more events on the calendar, and some of those events may have costs associated with them, one of the things that the event planners can do and the chapters can do is charge a different fee if you are a member versus a non-member. So you do want to make sure, first of all, that you log in and you can take advantage of that different fee. Also, too, when you go to the events, depending on how the event was set up, you may not even see it if you're not logged in, because you can, again, the event planners can set up events that are only visible to members as opposed to anybody who hits the website. So you do want to make sure you're logged in and you can take full advantage of that. Now, when you do find an event you wish to register for, you can click on that event, and there's a couple of things that I want to show. You've got your register now, which you can click on, go through the information, and register for that. And as you go through here, remember, you do have, you get a chance to review your information, and then you can complete that registration. And that will actually register you for the event. So you want to make sure you always hit this last button, that complete registration. You may also receive, depending again how the event was set up, a confirmation email that you have registered. And you may also, closer to the event, get a reminder of the event, again, depending on how the event was set up. But one of the things that I wanted to point out to you is it does not automatically send you a calendar invitation. I don't know about everybody, but I know here in our chapter, because we had at one point used an email system that did have a calendar function to it, our members got really used to having that invite within their confirmation. And it doesn't do that through this system. So you do want to hit the add to my calendar so that you actually have that calendar invite, and that information then is added to your calendar. So again, when you hit that, you should get a little file that downloads. When you open up that file, it will look like a regular calendar invite, and I'm waiting for it to open up here. There it goes. Okay. And of course, it opened on the 2nd. So let me bring it over. So then you have your full calendar that you can add to your to your calendar. So you do want to make sure you've got that, you click that add to calendar either before or after you register, doesn't matter, but just make sure you do hit that add to calendar so you've got the information on your calendar as an invite. Because if you're like me, that if you don't put it on your calendar, you're not going to remember it. Comments, questions?
This is Lisa. One thing to note, I did get a question from somebody yesterday that it when they added it to their calendar, it showed up as 12 to 1 Central Time, even though this event was 12 to 1 Eastern Time.
Yes.
So that's something for folks to note, that it's, for whatever reason, the transition isn't great.
Yes, yeah, and I thank you. The great segue. And I see the questions in the chat. And I'll get to those in a second. The yes, so please note that, and this is something that we're trying to get out to those event planners who are putting things on the calendar, to make sure it's understood in the event or in the details of the event, whether they're specifying Central, Eastern Time, or whatever time, because it does not, right now, it does not translate very well. So we are trying to make sure that the information in the event itself specifies whether we're talking Eastern or Central Time. And I know I didn't follow my own rules here to specify that. So yeah, so we are really trying to make sure that it specifies what the time zone is, because it does not always translate very easily. So so one of the questions that we got is, with the Lotus, some people were saying, we have Outlook here. Some people say they're still on Lotus Notes. I don't, the newer versions of Lotus Notes may take those same files, invite file, or the calendar invitation files. I know they weren't always good about doing that, but I believe the newer versions of Lotus Notes are. So it should work with the Lotus Notes as well. Any other comments or questions? Yeah, Lynn, your information about the member having their local time zone in their profile and the event default time zones, even if those are all set correctly, we're still seeing issues with the translation of the time zones. So I know we've had a couple of conversations with Club Express about that, but so that's why we're really trying to in the meantime, we're really trying to make sure that the event planners are specifying in several different places what time zone the event is in, especially with everything right now being remote. Any other comments, questions? Okay. I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to go back to the profile page, that for us at AP, we're in the process of doing a lot of our self-evaluations and reviews for the end of the year from our performance plans and those types of things. And so one of the nice features is this event history, where you can go in and see all the events. And of course, this particular account hasn't signed up for anything, but potentially you could see all the events that you have registered for. You will notice an attendance column. Here, I'll show you. I'll log in as me and I'll show you what I mean so that you can see what it looks like. Okay, let's type my password in correctly. There we go. So if I go to mine, event history, it will show you all the events that I have registered for. There is an attendance column. And so one of the things that we're trying to get people used to is coming back in here and recording who physically attended. With it being a WebEx, obviously we haven't, with a lot of stuff being online and virtual, we haven't done that, haven't done, at least in our chapter, have not done a good job of that. But at least it should give you an idea of what events you have participated in and when those events were. Kind of nice, again, nice little feature if you're needing to go back and tell your manager what, what have you done within WiNUP, especially if it's one of those managers who's helping you take care of your membership fees and that type of thing. You may have to go back and say, here's what I did or learned or completed through my membership. Questions about that?
Hillary, where did you go to get to that event history?
I went up under my name to profile.
Okay.
And then on the profile under financial, that bottom box is the event history.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other comments, questions? Lisa, I did not know if we also wanted to kind of talk about, as we are going through renewal, if we wanted to talk about that $3 processing fee. And how some chapters are, writing that off depending on how the memberships are set up.
Sure.
And
if someone is paying by check.
Yes. So if you're going through the membership process and you're paying by check, you'll probably see a $3 fee show up. And as of right now, correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, but as of right now, I think all the chapters are writing that $3 processing fee off. Is that correct?
As long as someone is paying by check, yes.
Okay.
And that should have been part of I think that's a statement on the renewal reminder as well.
Right. I just wanted to I know it caused a confusion with a couple of members in our chapter. So I just wanted to make sure there wasn't any confusion with anybody else. So if you are writing by check and you see that $3 fee, you physically can't take that off. So go ahead and leave that in there and just remember that your check will be written minus that $3 because your chapter will be taking care of that on the back end of things. Any other questions? I see Dawn, Stephanie, I know you guys helped me put this together. Was there anything else that either one of you thought of that we might want to cover today? We do have a little bit more time available to us.
Not that I can think of, unless anybody has specific questions.
Same.
Okay, thank you.
Hillary, I can't remember since we talked so much about between the website committee, maybe go through a reminder about the member section, the documents, because I'm not sure how many people did that. And then also maybe the new look and feel for the chapters and how that's going to look and how people can, start finding information out on the chapters, and that, hopefully we'll be rolling out most of the chapters by the new year.
Okay, will do. So yes, again, under the members document, when you sign in, if you don't sign in, you won't have a member section. I know I said that before. It'll probably say join us or something to that effect. So you do want to make sure you sign in. And there is the documents here. The site does provide chapters the ability to store a lot of their documents on here. So you can go in and see and there's really kind of two types, or actually three kind of types of documents. There's public documents, which does not require a sign in, but anybody on the website can see those. You've got the chapter documents, which you do have to be a member, and you more than likely will have access to just the documents. Oh, actually, you will have, oh, that's because I'm logged in as myself. Sorry, forgot. More than likely, you would only see your particular chapter's documents here. Apologize. I forgot that I was signed in as myself. So yes, so you do have the ability to go in to see documents that your chapter is storing up here. So this is kind of a nice place if you do have documents you want to share within your members. We in Ohio probably have gone a little overboard in that we've actually got several different folders for some of our various committees and things like that. But you can store those. The other folder that you will have access to are the chapter newsletters. Now, those are treated similarly to public. So you could go out to any chapter and see their newsletters if they were storing their newsletters out here. So I did want to point that out to you as well. Comments, questions?
So, hate to keep interrupting. There's also all the international documents that used to be on the member section. So you'll see the forms and applications, the leadership contact list, which include the chapter information and the executive committees, and some other information as well. So you will also find the typical international information we found on the previous website as well.
Yes. In fact, if you go, you've got the online applications, or if you happen to be in the document folders, you've got the folders, forms and applications folder as well. Yes. And then finally, wanted to share with you, we are currently in the process of updating all of the chapter pages. So a typical, if you go out there right now, typically a chapters page will look similar to this, with just some basic information. What we're moving to, if you have not seen it yet, is something that looks more like this, where we've got a little bit more interaction. Now, I realize not every single solitary chapter has all of these pieces and parts, so we've developed this so that you can display the pieces and parts you need. So some chapters may only have the top three things here, some 3 buttons, some may have 6, some may have a different number of buttons. But everybody should have a landing page that looks similar to this. They'll have the ability to put in upcoming events, which really will be all of the events that are upcoming that have been opened up, as well as if you've requested an events button, you should have an events button for your particular chapter. So again, the upcoming events will kind of show everybody, or all events that are open. If you want to filter them just to your chapters events, you can hit your chapters event button, and that will take you to the same spot, but it will add a filter to show only that chapter's events. We are also asking, as chapters are putting events on the calendar, that they put a code at the beginning of it so we know what or whose event that is, so it doesn't get lost with all, if you're looking at everybody's. We have an opportunity to use the information that's in the Acorn to Oaks to put a little bit of an about, as well as if you wish to include any goals that your chapter has for the upcoming year. And then, since the top row of buttons really help us interact with the whole entire website at international level, each chapter will get on their sub pages this left navigation button to tie their particular sub pages together. So you have the ability to go back to your particular landing page, your events, your photos, your documents, if you want to, your newsletters, and the ability to have a contact button that could very easily bring up an email to contact your chapter. So we are in the process of setting a set of these pages up for all chapters. And as Lisa said, hopefully starting to release those after the first of the year as we're putting the information in. Any comments or questions? If your chapter admin has any comments or questions about these pages, please have them reach out to either myself or Lisa, and we will make sure they know how to make changes to these pages and or know where they can supply the information as we're building these pages out. Any additional comments or questions? Well, seeing none in the chat. Hearing anything, I'll just kind of throw out, what do you guys think of the new website? Either the chapter pages or just the overall interaction within the international pages as well, the international site as well. Seeing a lot of comments. Everybody's saying looks great. Looking forward to using it more. That's good. Glad we're using one platform for continuity, for continuity and better styling. Yes, absolutely, Misty. I love the fact that it's all housed in one, and we can kind of learn and grow as a complete organization.
So Hillary, maybe the other thing, once again, sorry, is the homepage and how people can go and sort of see what's happening at the, where other chapters may be selling items and that sort of thing, to kind of scroll down and see what's happening.
Yep. Good point. Now, we are in the process, hopefully to start soon, of possibly redesigning this homepage, but it does have a couple of key features. One, it also has that upcoming event, so you can kind of, within a quick shot, see what's coming up on the horizon overall without necessarily going to the event calendar. But there's also the announcement section. And so one of the things that, and this kind of goes back to being the fact that we're all on one platform, is if your chapter is wishing to sell something, raise some funds, you can have us create an announcement and it will display here on this front page of WiNUP. So for example, and I'll put the plug in because I'm with the Ohio chapter. The Ohio chapter is selling WiNUP luggage tags. So whenever we get back to being able to travel and go to conferences, you can have your WiNUP luggage tag. But there's others here who are selling. Nashville chapter, I know you've got an online fundraiser going on. West Virginia's got one going on as well. And so we have worked with them to develop announcements about that. And if you open up the announcement, you will find the information regarding that particular, the one I click on is give it a second. It's opening up a Word document. It has all the details on how to make your purchase and that type of thing. So we are able to do that for your chapters. So this is one way of doing it. If I go back to the homepage and I open up another one just to show you some of the differences, we can also create one. Here's what those luggage tags looks like. And we can embed, if your chapter has a PayPal account, we can embed that PayPal button so that the transactions are done through your PayPal account. So we can do that right on the website as well. So just a couple of things there from that home page. By the way, I'll also throw out there, if anybody's got any suggestions on how they feel we can make these pages better, I'm always open to suggestions as well. You will find the letter from the presidents on the homepage as well, there as well too. So we have, you've got the events button. Photos. If you guys have photos, we're really trying to start to collect photos, and we can create multiple albums out here of various photos that we have captured over the year. Most of the photos that we have out here are around things like our conferences. But if your chapter has done some events and have captured photos, then we'd love to help you build a photo album of those to really showcase the types of things that our chapters do. So we have the photo albums up here as well. So a lot of good things that we have going here. And then, like I said, hopefully the idea is that this is a fairly easy to use site. Even from the back end, where the Club Express is making constant changes to how we can edit these pages. And so hopefully we'll be able to add some functionality and look and feel and really keep a fairly dynamic website going. Yeah, we had a question about who should you reach out about announcements. As it was answered, you can send the information to Lisa and copy myself on that, and we will get that set up for you. Any other comments, questions? Anything else, Lisa?
No, I think that might cover it. Thanks.
Thanks for keeping me on my toes.
I live and breathe this website, so
there are days I feel like I do too. Well, with that, I'd love to hear from you guys on what you thought, what we can do to make this better for you as members. So if anyone doesn't have any other comments or questions, I will call it a done deal. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Hillary.